content of this channel is for mature audiences. Parental discretion is advised. You're tuned in to the Green Gorilla channel. Please make sure to like the video, subscribe to the channel, and hit the bell notification button. And please, feel free to share the video. Thank you.
What's good, everybody? You know who I am, man. I'm GG, and you're tuned in to the Green Gorilla channel. It's the place where black men can express themselves freely, straight up, no chases. Now, before I get things started, man, make sure you hit the like button on your way in, subscribe to the channel, and hit the bell notification button so you can stay on top of what's going on here on the Green Gorilla channel. Word. And also, man, I want to give a shout out to all my haters, man. I know y'all up in here. Some of y'all. I know there's some haters somewhere. I ain't even done the show yet, man, and they told me the show was questionable. Hey, look, I ain't even done the show yet. I ain't even started the show, and the show has already been shadow banned. You feel me? I mean, I ain't even started speaking yet. And they already told me that, the content was questionable. Man, that's what we got to deal with, man. If you're a black male content creator in the manosphere, man, you better watch out, bro. Because they already got their eye on you. They don't like what you're saying. But thank God I got supporters, man. Tried and true supporters, man. Part of the Congress of Gorillas, man. And I got to give a shout out to them before I get things started, like I always do, man. Shout out to Kyle J. Sura, Brotherly Love 215, Kareem Not Karen, Lord Hamal, Troy Warren, Black Swerve 404, Jeff R. and Mrs. K.P. Bailey, and also Cutting Up with the Jones. Big up to y'all. Big up to Show Me, Ricky Dawson, Raiz Muajib, Michael Ross, Alan Wiley, The Face, Lee Ways, Mantis on Break, Electrician 480, and Life of Commerce. Big up. Big up to Life of Commerce, Apex Prowler, Julius Ferguson, Truth 7360, J. Cleveland Green, J. Bino, The Advocate, Herbert Lewis, D. Scott, Marvin Evans, and Lotus Eater. Big up. Big up to Rogus Son, L. Fry, Timothy Blewett, Jeffrey Speed, Marvin Battle Jr., Mark Holt, John J., The IDP Expressions, Afro Troop TV, and Adam. Big up! Big up to Tahuti, BGS Ibmore, Ignatz Mouse, Brian Peace, Papa Dida, Scott Haywood, Black Uru Strikes, Dr. Tree 33, Leroy Honeycutt, and Broken Blade. Big up! Big up to Supertech, 77 Base X, Brian McMurray, K-Ron S, Anthony Davis, Artisan MC, Donnell 360, Seven Coast Dojo, Pulpit 28, and Charles Rogers. Big up! Big up to Rick Ross, Sandra Jean, Charles Gilmore, Patricia Colley, Greg, Barry Little, Mr. Valentino, Jason Hales, Black Men Being Brutally Honest, and Cameron 87. Big up! Big up to Doc LaRock, J. Charles, Mark Swift, Odd Collar, Donald Watts, HipHop.catv, Coach DC, Old Soul Chief, Mr. Blue Collar, and Barnolas. Big up! Big up to I'm Just Jules, TD Hip Hop Media, Drew Main, Mr. Heat, Sir Anthony, MLR, Universal 178, Rasheed Barnes, and Eric Smith. Big up! Big up to DH, Beware the Revelator, Gold Professor, Aaron Infinite, Dr. Tiasan Johnson, Kalan Jakala, Hostile Adeb, W. Pierre 1, and I can't forget my brothers, resting in peace. Big up to Forrest Windu, David Carroll, and Kevin Samuels. Big up to y'all, man. And on the Patreon side, I want to give a shout out to Charles Fontentot, I'm the light of my father, Waffle Weave, Lamont Latimer, William Joyner, Rufus Winfield, Darnell Smith, Excalibur, Jason Warren, Anu 219, Pursuer Prisoner, Taz, Dragon 59, Adrian Hicks, Jay Bailey, Mr. Michi, and the Sangwa. Big up to all y'all, man, and y'all deserve a round of applause, man. Thank you so much for supporting the Green Gorilla channel, man. Appreciate all that help, man, and support. Straight up, it goes a long way. And you know, again, as I said, man, you know, this work right here is not popular in the media. It's not popular on these social media sites. What we say, man, a lot of people take offense to. But you know, hit dogs will holler. You understand? But if you want to support the Green Gorilla channel as a member, man, this is how you do that, man. Real talk. And I'll be back with the show. What's good, everybody? I'm the G with a PhD, and you're tuned in to the Green Gorilla channel. The place where black men can express themselves freely. Straight up, no chaser. Today, I want to introduce you to my new membership program that consists of 5 levels where you can invest in the Green Gorilla channel on a monthly basis and receive level-specific perks. Memberships are special because they improve the quality of the content of the channel and will help me to be able to keep the channel going. Now, to participate in the Green Gorilla channel membership program, all you have to do is hit the join button, which is located right next to the subscribe button on my channel page. Now, for all of my subscribers who decide not to participate in my membership program, nothing will change. The content will keep coming the way it always has. Thanks for watching, and be careful out here, people. Bless. All right, man, I'm back. You know who I be. I'm GG. You're tuned in to the Green Gorilla channel. It is the place where black men can express themselves freely, straight up, with no chasers. And, you know, the last show I did was entitled, Any Black Men Will Do, and Everybody Knows It. And what I tried to explain in that show was a few things, but 3 things stick out in my mind. And the first thing that sticks out to me about that show is about racism itself and what it exactly is. It's primarily a form of misandric aggression. It's the assignment of persons to an inferior category on the basis of their ethnicity, how different they are from the dominant group of skin color, such that their very humanity is called into question. And, as I said on that show, it's important to know that racism's most lethal effects are directed towards men, outgroup men. So that's the first thing that stands out to me. The second thing that stands out to me about the show that I want to emphasize as I go through this is about the concept patriarchy. I don't perceive patriarchy the way second wave feminists do, you know, where they take a class of persons, women, say that they're a member of the proletariat, all of them, or members of the proletariat, take all men, classify them as members of the bourgeoisie, and then you have oppression from men directed towards women. I think that that's just a simplistic means or method or a taxonomic structure by which to determine who's oppressed and who's not, or justice and injustice related to men and women as groups of persons. I don't think that that's accurate. And the way I perceive patriarchy is that it's a kinship covenant system where you have older and powerful men who develop friendship or fraternal bonds to basically thwart threats from other men. And if you perceive patriarchy this way, and I think you can look at the historical archive and it'll give you evidence that this is the case. The claim can be falsified using social scientific methodology. It's not ideology. It's not moral intuitionism. It's not, a whole bunch of theory without the capacity to be tested. It's falsifiable. All you got to do is check the historical record and look for conditions which obtain that you can measure. And when you think of patriarchy in this way, the way feminists in the second wave define it seems less accurate and has less explanatory power. But the last thing I wanted to talk about that sticks out about that show is that during the era of Reconstruction, there began to be a myth perpetrated and propagated. And it was namely that you got black male savages who are looking to ravish and rape white women. To just straight up, rape, pillage, and plunder white women. But the reality of the situation is, when you look at the historical archives, who was sexually assaulted on these plantations and during the era or the period within the bowels and the entrails of that institution, as peculiar as it was, who was being raped and sexually assaulted? It was men and women, little boys and girls. And they were sexually assaulted by white men and white women. Take that to the chin. And before I proceed, man, I want to give a shout out to Colorful, man. Appreciate the donation, man. Thank you. I do work hard. I work hard. And thank you, Barry Little, for your support. Appreciate that, man. I do work hard. But it's my splendid pleasure to do this. Okay? It's my splendid pleasure. So thank you, brothers. But the only thing I want to underscore is those three things from that show. But what hurts more than anything else is when this idea about the black male rapist, the black male savage, the black male brute begins to be absorbed into the consciousness and the political movements of black women. That shit hurt like a motherfucker. That's why this show is called When Black Women Become the Tip of the White Patriarchal Sphere. That shit right there hurts, man. Real talk, man. That's the shit I don't like. Like Chief Keef. That's something I don't like. So the myth about the black male brute and the rapist becomes absorbed into the political ideology of many black feminists. And that shit right there hurts like a motherfucker, bro. It cuts like a knife. It hits with the force of a freight train. It's like methane hitting your cellular membrane. It hurts. So what I'm about to do is I'm going to read a little bit. It's going to be a little bit cerebral, but I want to demonstrate how it happens, how this ideology has become absorbed into the everyday political thinking of various black women in contemporary American and Western culture in general. And in that way, the very people who are supposed to give us support, like Fannie Lou Hamer did, like Ella Baker did, like Ida B. Wells did, become the very same people who perpetrate the idea that we're brutes and savages and that we need to be arrested and monitored and surveilled. That shit right there hurt, boy. All that hating right there hurting, man. And if it's not predicated or founded or undergirded by the facts, then we're well within our right to point it out and to speak about it unapologetically. Word up. Word up. So what I'm about to do is read something. And after I read it, I'm going to go back and forth between different sources, though. Not just one source, but many. Okay? And as I read through it, it'll become clear how some women in the academy utilized the social scientific research of racists and then used it to determine that black men are what they say we are. Savage, brutal rapists. That's a problem, man. That's a big fat problem. MS Delta guy, man, appreciate your generous donation, man. Appreciate that. Because they got me on shadow ban already. I ain't even done the show. I ain't even started the show. Before the show was even begun, it had already been hit with a, well, we need to review this to determine whether or not it's suitable for our advertising. But that's the way they treat us over here, man. Like what we're doing is spewing a bunch of hate. Like what we intend to do is to create harm and violence to people and to justify it. That's not what we're doing here. In fact, we're doing the exact opposite. What we're trying to do is to have violence be not directed towards us. That's what we're doing here. And when you got violence from the state being directed towards you because of narratives that don't have any grounding within the truth, that's a problem. It should be a political problem for you if you're a black man. Word up. But again, thank you, MS Delta guy. Appreciate your donation. And Cameron87, thank you so much for your donation as well. I appreciate that. Because Green Gorilla wouldn't be up in the piece if it wasn't for your support. Straight up, man. Word up. And before, people go on talking about my tone and the way I speak and how loud I am and how angry I sound, don't tone police me. You don't want to be tone police. Go look up at the articles on the internet. Just look up tone policing. And you'll see article after article, explanation after explanation of why it should not be done. But when it comes to us, we have to check our tone, lest we offend the sensibilities of certain segments of the population. And then that's regarded as hate speech. I say, fuck that shit. If you're scared, go to church. All that fainting couch shit ain't gonna work over here. No, sir. No, ma'am. Doesn't work over here. No, sir. Thanks to Lionel Player One. Appreciate that. YouTube says that, but they're taking percentage from your super chats, though. Ain't that right, though? Word up. He ain't never lied. And they gonna keep on taking their bread. That's why at some point, man, we need to find an alternative means and methodology by which to put up super chats and by which to make donations so as to sidestep the very persons who are making money off of us, but at the same time don't want to promote us. They'll promote everybody but us. They'll promote any kind of political ideology but ours. And that's an issue. That's a big fat problem. And fuck how we talking about it. We can say what we want to say, how we want to say it. Profanity in and of itself is not enough to trigger what they call, not suitable for our advertiser dollars or whatever the case may be. It's time to phase these people out, man. Got they, hand all up in the pot. That's for my nigga right there, Charles Faulkner. Woo! For the educational cigars and the the learned liquor. Word up, man. Peace out, Charles. Peace, bro. So let me get to this, man, before it takes too long. And I want to, I ain't got all day to do this. So it's going to take a little minute for me to read through some things. And I want to underscore some things. And basically, I'm going to read from Tommy Curry. I've read from him before, and I'm not implying that Tommy Curry, will draw any inferences that I am related to what he's saying in this regard. So I'm not trying to include him into saying that black women are the tip of the patriarchal sphere or none of that shit. I'm saying what I'm saying in order to underscore a point. I'm trying to underscore an issue here. That shit hurts, man. I'm waiting for the Ida B. Wells, the Fannie Lou Hamers, and the Ella Bakers. Where y'all at? But nowadays, we got a whole different kind of ilk. Spewing a whole different kind of rhetoric. So let me get straight to this, man, before I'm here all day, man. Before I'm here all day. So I need to close some things out, get some things going. All right, that should be coming into view right this second. So let me put this into the full screen mode. And I hope that y'all can see that. It might be a little small. I could try to make it a little bit bigger, but I don't want to screw around with this too much. Not something I really want to do here. Anyway, so, Curry wrote an article called Decolonizing the Intersection, Black Male Studies as a Critique of Intersectionality's Indebtedness to Subculture of Violence Theory. Now, I've read this before, but I'm going to read it again because it helps me underscore my point. No, I'm not going to read all of it because it's too long. I'm going to read what I consider to be important. My man say it's blurry as hell. I see it's blurry also, but we got to ride with it. It just is what it is. It is a little bit blurry though. I do admit that. But anyway, so in this work, he starts off, he says, in his book, Man, Not Race, Class, Genre, and the Dilemmas of Black Manhood, introduced the first reading of Kimberly Crenshaw's theory of intersectionality as an extension of Catherine McKinnon's dominance theory. Now, many of y'all don't know what dominance theory is in relation to Catherine McKinnon. Catherine McKinnon is a feminist, philosopher, a law professor, whatever you want to call her. And she came up with a concept called dominance feminism. So, just understand that, okay? Whereas previous discussions of intersectionality argued that the theory was anti-essentialist and thereby incompatible with essentialist conceptualizations of race, class, or gender, my reading argues that the gender category, specifically the concept of woman deployed by Crenshaw, presumes a rigid historical, cultural, and sociological hierarchy of subordination of women to men. And that's a lot to unpack, man. Curry is dense, but it's just real simple. He's talking about anti-essentialist versus essentialist understandings of various concepts. In this particular case, it's gender categories or categories. It's gender as a category, okay? This conceptualization of women requires men to exhibit various group-based behaviors and motivations that can be theorized as an effect of patriarchy. So men are essentially a specific kind of way. Women are specifically or essentially a specific kind of way. That's what I intended to say. Women are essentially a kind of way, and men are essentially a kind of way. That's their essence to be that. That's what they are, okay? Consequently, intersectionality relies on a conceptualization of gender that allows the reconstitution of black female identity around sameness and difference with black men and white women, while requiring black males to be theorized primarily through the sameness they share with men as patriarchs. And the problem I think that Curry's going to have with this is They don't explain the differences that we have with white men, the so-called patriarchs. They just basically say we're acting just like them. That's why you get nut jobs like Damon Young talking about black men are the white people or black people. This is the reasoning, the thinking, the ideology which leads him to be able to say that kind of statement or to make that kind of claim. Okay? Under intersectionality, black males are denied the reformulations afforded to black females. Bam, you said a bunch there, Curry. Because black women are black, and insofar as they're black, they share some commonalities with black men. And as they are black women, they share some commonalities with, white women, as they are women. But they get to ride in the intersections, but we riding straight down the street in a parallel line to white folks. There's no intersection for us. And that's the problem with the shit, man. Because gender operates analytically as an assertion of black males' hierarchical location above and privilege over black women, black males are depicted as being less powerful, but nonetheless the same as white men who strive for patriarchal domination of women. And this is why I have the red underline, and this is what it's saying. In this sense, intersectionality functions as an analytic dictum rather than an explanatory theory, since it requires the subordination of women to be a historically salient structural feature as well as a replicative activity within racial groups in every analysis. There's nothing that deviates from it. This is analytic. It's like deductive syllogism. Like, this is the way it has to be related to the elucidation of the concepts themselves. The gender category deployed in intersectional analysis of black males not only assert intuitively that black men and boys are privileged compared to black women and girls, but elide or gloss over empiricism, which is what fucking science is supposed to be all about, right? It elides, it just passes over empiricism and sociological contextualization that explain why various forms of evidence continues to demonstrate greater black male disadvantage in health, education, economic mobility, mortality, police homicide, and imprisonment. So if there's all this privilege, why, when we look at empirical categories and move beyond the analytic categories developed by feminist philosophers and shit like that, why do we get a different picture? Why do we get a different outcome predicated upon analyzing data that can be measured as opposed to ideas and concepts that people utilize and use deductive methodology in order to try to determine it without having it checked and balanced by data? When such empirical arguments showing the peculiar and perilous condition of being black and male in the U.S. are presented, they're often framed as contributing to the idea that black males are an endangered species and by effect deemed to be outside of intersectional analysis. But, and I got this in red, even when intersectional theorists concede that black men are the primary targets of lethal violence and greater victims of patriarchal oppression in the United States, the claims concerning male privilege and dominance remain unaffected by the evidence. God damn. Damn. And patriarchally, what I'm trying to articulate here is there's different methods by which to obtain data and to interpret, well, let me rephrase that. To obtain knowledge, there's different methods. One method is the deductive method. Okay? Another method is an inductive method. And science primarily utilizes the inductive method. That's why Sir Francis Bacon wrote the book, De Novum Organum, which basically is the new tool of induction. Now, you got Karl Popper, who came along and he tried to reformulate a method by which to use deductive, syllogism in order to, obtain scientific knowledge or whatever the case may be. But I'm not here to get into the philosophy of science right now. But the whole point is there's different ways to obtain information, and one could argue science relies heavily on the inductive method and the gathering of evidence and making risky and bold predictions that can be falsified and tested, as opposed to just being proved because you said it in an argument. Okay? Black males lack structural power over black women. Bottom line, man, black males lack structural power over black women in American society. Consequently, many of the analysis concerning black male privilege and black patriarchy focus on the physical threats black males are thought to pose to black female, queer, and trans bodies interpersonally, rather than systemic advantages in employment, economic mobility, or wealth. I told you guys before, and I'm going to say this again. The only way that you can be considered to have black male privilege is because of your sexual dimorphism. You belong to the human species, and you're bigger, faster, and stronger than the average woman, the average black man is. It just is what it is. It's a function of nature. Therein lies your patriarchy. The very thing that's supposed to help you, so-called protect, is the very thing that they consider to be a threat. You're bigger, faster, stronger, and that makes them vulnerable. And so therefore, you utilize this strength, this speed, to make their lives a living hell. You threaten their very existence and pose some sort of, existential harm just by being who you are. And not only the females, but also the gay folks, the queer people and trans people. Anyway, Curry goes on to say this article argues that the understanding of black male patriarchy through violence within intersectional analysis is a product of black feminism's reliance on subculture of violence theory. I did a show about it. I can't go into all of it. But in essence, the subculture of violence theory about black men is the rape mythology that was pointed out in the article that I read to you the last show. The black male savage rapist. It's the same thinking. It's the same myth. Spun, twisted, repackaged, reshaped, remarketed, rebranded, coming to a political, movement near you. It's the same thing. This is what I'm trying to get you guys to see. And many of y'all, man, I hate to say it, many of you guys, man, out here using the same shit. The same narratives, man. And I'm not saying, let me be clear here. I'm not saying black men don't do bad things. There are some men that do bad things. But also, there's some black women who do some bad things. There are white men that do some bad things. Some white women who do some bad things. But don't scapegoat us. That was the whole point of any four black men will do or any black men will do, we're often used as the scapegoats. We're often referred to as the source of all the harm and the evil, the repository of evil in the world. Who wants to carry that damn badge? Who wants to deal with that burden? Who wants to bear that cross? Especially if we have data that demonstrates we're not the only people involved in the very activities that we're accused of making us patriarchal, man. Y'all don't hear me though, man. Y'all don't hear me, bruh. This article argues that the criminological formulation of black maleness as a threat to women explains the seemingly fixed perspective of intersectional analysis on the sexual pathology and social deviance of black men and boys. As such, I argue that Kimberly Crenshaw's initial formulation of intersectional analysis depends on an understanding of racial patriarchy that is inextricably, meaning it can't be separated. It is separated to dominance feminism's emphasis on physical violence and the criminological construct of the intra-racial rapist. The intra-racial rapist means within the group. Black on black, white on white. But the initial formulation was of the interracial rapist. That was the initial formulation. And we read that yesterday, it was the Ku Klux Klan basically who made it up because they wanted to use what they considered to be an affront to black men, being able to have sex with black women whatever they wanted, however they wanted. And then they utilized it, flipped the script, turned it around and said we was the ones who was the threat. Come on, man. We know what was happening, and it wasn't just women that was being assaulted. They was also assaulting black men and boys on them plantations as well. But y'all don't hear me though. They want to hide this. This is controversial content, even though it's historical content. It's the kind of content we can't put out there. Oh, it's not suitable for our advertisers. Well, you sound like a bird. Well, we can't bear with the stuff. And look, I want you to understand clearly what dominance feminism actually is. I could go into what he says about not Crenshaw, but Catherine McKinnon. But I just want to make it simple for you. So the first thing I'm going to do is zoom out of this. Let me go to view, exit. Let me just exit the full screen. I want you to know what dominance feminism actually is. So I got an article here written by a woman. What is her name, man? Andrea Mazingo. The intersection of dominance feminism and stalking laws. Okay, in this article, which is published by the Northwestern Journal of Law and Social Policy, Volume 9, Issue 2, in the year 2014 of our Lord, Anno Domini, she defines what dominance feminism actually is. You can see it in the table of contents, dominance feminism. Dominance feminism is an ideological frame. What is it? I have it highlighted here. This is what it is, according to Mazingo. Dominance feminism is a feminist theory that rejects the approaches of equality feminism and difference feminism. And then she goes on to define what the latter two are and how it can be distinguished from dominance feminism. She says an equality feminist or a traditional feminist seeks a formal legal equality and equal access to traditionally male privileges for women. Okay? So it's about law and making things equitable in relation to, the powers that women have according to the law. A difference feminist seeks different legal treatment for women so as to compensate for women's inequality. So it's almost like an affirmative action kind of feminism, right? Difference feminism. To a difference feminist, male social dominance is the result of a long-standing inequality between the genders and not a conscious male effort. But dominance feminism, or Catherine McKinnon's feminism, attributes women's inferior societal position to men's concerted effort to subordinate and control women. Now, who the fuck is actually sitting around pondering ways to fucking control women, man? Who the fuck is doing this in this time, in this day and age? Who's doing this? And let me tell you why this is not scientific at all. I'm going to tell you why. Because first of all, you've already assuming what the intentions and the internal springs and desires of a person's action are. That men, as men, seek to control and dominate women. Who the fuck is doing this? Dominance feminism holds that men wield power over women through social, sexual, and physical domination. Physically, men control women by wielding the threat of violence. You don't even have to be violent with a motherfucker. You don't even have to be violent with them. It's the threat that you pose. You might be violent with them. The threat of violence. Notwithstanding the fact that women are just as likely, if not more likely, to assault their intimate partners, heterosexual women, gay women, trans women, I don't know. But women are just as likely to assault their intimate partners, if not more, than men. So how the fuck does this actually obtain in the real world? Women destroy property, threaten to call the fucking police and all kind of other crazy shit. And this article is about stalking. This is what this article is about. Socially, men control women on a small scale by exerting patriarchal control over them or by objectifying them. You mean like when they shake their asses in front of the fucking public? And you objectify, like you said, damn, that's a fat old ass. Come here, sugar baby. Woo! That's a form of control? So on a small scale, they exert patriarchal control over them or by objectifying them. On a large scale, men control women by perpetuating a legal system that reinforces gender inequality and wage discrimination. Bruh, has this bitch seen the family court system? Has she seen it from a male perspective? Has she not seen child support laws? Has she not seen the impact and the effect that women have in terms of their choice whether to bring a child into the world or not? Whether she wants to take responsibility for that shit or not. Let me put it this way so you can understand the shit clearly. If a woman decides she don't want to have a baby, now that shit might change because of this Roe v. Wade thing. But at the current moment, if a woman decides to have an abortion she can get one. If she decides to have a child, she can have one. You don't have to be in the picture, but what you do have to do is you have to spend money if she decides that she wants the damn child. Now, she can abort the child because it's going to have an impact on her career or her professional life. If you decide, hey, I don't want to have a kid because it might hamper my money or it might fuck with my professional life. So fucking what, dude? Don't give a fuck. Go your ass to the goddamn bank and give us some money. Her excuse can be this child is going to impede my career and my money. The same shit can be said by a man. Guess what? We don't give a fuck. We don't care. The baby's here. You had it with her. Pay me. And you don't even have to be the daddy. You could be married to her. She can have a baby. That's your baby. That's your fucking kid. You could be paying and think the baby is your baby and assume that the baby is your baby. Motherfucker, you gonna keep paying. That's your baby. And because of the best interest of the child concept in common law, women 9 times out of 10, they're going to get custody of the kid, full custody. And you're going to get visitation if you're a man. So don't tell me about the fucking legal system and how it's all partial and works to the advantage of men. That's just fucking bullshit. Bullshit. A legal system that reinforces gender inequality. Yeah, it does reinforce gender inequality. And wage discrimination, don't fucking begin to talk about wage discrimination. I don't even want to hear, especially as it pertains to black men, I don't want to hear that shit at all. Not from a white woman, Mexican woman, black woman. I don't want to hear that shit from a purple fucking woman. I don't want to hear it. Because there's so much evidence out there that it's black men who are on the downwardly mobile track. Even if they're fucking educated, they're on a downwardly mobile track. Even if they come from wealthy 2-parent homes, the likelihood that they will be on a downward mobile track, mobile track is high. Downwardly mobile track is high. The same shit doesn't obtain for women, black women. It doesn't. It obtains to black boys and young black men. Those are the facts. Now, either you want the fucking facts or you want to deal with a whole bunch of fake ass ideology conjured up by a whole bunch of motherfuckers who have no interest in doing the fucking work, the empirical data research. Toriel, because I'm doing what the fuck I want to do. That's why I'm doing it. If you don't like it, you can get the fuck out of here. How about that shit? If you come in here with that bullshit, get the fuck out. Don't come here tone policing me. Don't fucking tone police me. I don't know if you're male or female, but I don't give a fuck about you one way or the other. Kick rocks, motherfucker. You can get the fuck out. Get out. Why are you always talking about women? First of all, I'm talking the truth. Tell me what the fuck I'm saying is a lie. I'm tired of these white knight ass dudes or these women coming in here telling me what I'm saying about women. Motherfucking women, this is a fucking article in the Northwestern Journal of Law and Social Policy talking about fucking men. And you got the goddamn fucking cotton picking bullshit ass nerve to tell me to shut the fuck up? Fuck you. Don't tone police me. Don't tell me what I'm supposed to say and how the fuck I'm supposed to feel. Don't tell me what the fuck to say or how to fucking feel. This shit is enshrined in the fucking law. These are law professors fucking putting this shit out there. You gonna tell me what the fuck I'm supposed to say? I ain't saying shit about no individual woman. I'm talking about ideas, and yo bitch ass come up in this motherfucker and you gonna tell me to calm down. Why you saying this? Why you saying that? Fuck you. Eat 1,000 dicks, bitch made motherfucker. And I mean what I'm talking about too. I mean what the fuck I'm saying. Tell me to shut up. Fuck you. Shout out to Mr. Heat. Motherfuckers telling me to be quiet. I hate that shit. I'm tired of it. You can call me whatever the fuck you want. Tell me what the fuck I'm supposed to be saying. I hate that shit, man. We talking about fucking law and policy here. This is a law professor. Basically saying what men doing. Why are you talking about women? Because motherfucker, we reacting to this shit. That's why. I get so tired of this stupid ass shit. I'm fucking tired of it. They don't have no argument. They never say shit. They never have a fucking argument at all. They just come in here and start telling us what the fuck we can and what we can't say. Fuck you. It's a free goddamn country covered by the fucking First Amendment. If you don't like what the fuck I'm saying, get your bitch ass on down the fucking road. I gotta hold on for a second. I gotta plug my computer in. This motherfucker got unplugged. Gotta plug my shit in. Don't piss me off. There you go, Vince. I'm with Vince here. How does a green gorilla run his channel? Any goddamn way he wants. Any damn way he wants. Shout out to ML Lloyd, man. Thank you, sir. Appreciate that. Shout out to M. Johnson. Appreciate that, man. Johnston. Sorry. And thank you for becoming a member to the Green Gorilla channel, man. Appreciate that. Nasiana. Appreciate that. And thank you, Mr. Heat. Appreciate that, bro. This pisses me off, man. Motherfuckers telling us what we can say and I told you don't come in here tone policing me. I ain't tone policing nobody on no channel, on YouTube, on Facebook, on TikTok, on Instagram. I don't give a fuck what you got to say. Say it the way you want to say it. But don't tell me to be quiet and to say shit to make you feel fucking comfortable. Fuck you and your comfortability. I'm gonna let them know. Thank you, Money. Money Mike, appreciate that. Come here trying to tone police me. And I'm trying to preserve the integrity of the reality of black male life, and the first thing you buster ass motherfuckers come and do is tell me to watch your tone. Why are you talking about this group of people? Because you talking about us. in the fucking abstract, in law classes, and in law journals and shit. That's why the fuck I'm talking about y'all. That's why. Because if you can critique, you can be amenable to critique. If you point a finger, a finger could get pointed back at your ass. I'm tired of these motherfuckers out here thinking it's a pass. Fuck that. I'm tired of this shit, man. Men dominate women sexually by wielding the threat of sexual violence over women and by using catcalls, sexual advances in the workplace, race, and pimping, to name a few examples. Like it ain't no fucking female pimps. Like women don't make sexual advances in the fucking workplace. I know many women who've made fucking sexual advances in me in the fucking workplace. I've had grown-ass women that I've been knowing all my fucking life feeling all up on me. Let me touch you. Let me feel you. Now, if a man did that to a woman, it's a fucking problem. But if a woman does it to a man, oh, well, you know, he wanted it. I want it that way. And the fucked up thing about it is, this article is about stalking. That's what this article was supposed to be about, stalking. It wasn't too long ago, man, less than a year ago, man. I told a black woman, I said, hey, look, don't come I brought her to my house one time. She spent the night over this motherfucker. Then she kept popping up over this motherfucker. I said, hey, don't come to my shit unless I tell you you can come to my shit. She kept coming to my fucking shit anyway. She knocked on my goddamn next door neighbor's door. Is he there? Have you seen him? I mean, his car's out here, but he's not answering the door. Now, if I did that shit to her, then all of a sudden I'll be a stalker, right? See, this is the fucking nonsensical bullshit that these ladies keep coming up with. But this is what dominant feminism is. The idea that men are controlling women. And you see this shit in domestic violence law and a whole bunch of other kind of policies and legal, practices put forth. And these women are in fucking law schools teaching this shit. This woman is a fucking law professor probably, teaching this shit in classes. To ask me why, watch my tone. Why you saying this? Why you saying that? Fuck you. Fuck you. I'm going to one thing. First of all, this is Dr. Tia Science Johnson's male rape information sheet. I read from it the last time. The CDC has already basically found that women rape men as often as men rape women. Fucking deal with it. One out of every 4 black men and women have experienced rape, physical violence, and stalking by an intimate partner in a lifetime. Deal with the shit. When you add up, and this is the last point, when you add up made to penetrate cases, rape by the newer FBI definition in prison sexual assault, rape statistics, men, statistically black men especially, experience rape at much higher rates than women do annually. Deal with the shit. This is why I get tired. All these phony ass motherfucking social justice woke ass sister mother queen of the earth, goddess of the motherfucking Nile River shit. I'm tired of hearing that bullshit. Come with something fucking real. If you ain't got nothing real to say about black people and the existence in which they live, for real, get the fucking stepping. I don't give a fuck who you are. It can go from Umar to O'Day. I don't give a fuck. Say something real, man. Fuck all this goddamn ideology and nationalistic bullshit. It's killing us. Because niggas don't study niggas. Y'all fucking study moral intuitionism and fuckboy politics. I'm sick of you niggas. I'm sick of y'all bullshit. I'm sick of y'all sophomorish behavior. I'm sick of your non-erudition. I'm sick of you hillbilly, backwater, fuck-ass niggas. I'm sick of y'all all across the board. Shout out to Obert. And this ain't got nothing to do with hating nobody. It's got to do with exposing the truth. Motherfuckers feel like they can just get some shit off and we gonna sit back on the sidelines and not say shit. That shit is over with, man. It's fucking done. It's fucking over with. Absolutely fucking over with. It's done. It's fucking over. Done. And if you don't like it, take that and put it in your motherfucking ad suitability. Take that shit and put it in your ad suitability. This is beginning to piss me the fuck off here, man. But let me get back to this. So now you know what dominant feminism is. It's just basically, women, even fucking women, you penetrate them, that's a form of dominance. You're bigger than them, so that's a form of dominance. The threat you pose, it's a form of dominance. Even though the statistics show that women are just as likely to assault men, even like with their fists, knives, guns and shit, doesn't matter to these people, man, because ideologically, they're dialed in to their own oppression. And the question is, how did these fucking white women all of a sudden become minorities and shit? All of a sudden did they become a minority? Because the last time I looked at during Jim Crow, when the kids was trying to desegregate the school system, it was a bunch of white women out there looking mad as a motherfucker, spitting and hollering and shit. The last time I checked, when I looked at the fucking historical archives, it was a whole bunch of fucking women standing around a goddamn tree with fucking beer and soda and picnic baskets and shit, smiling while a black man was fucking hung from a tree and was castrated. But you're a fucking minority though, right? I'm on some bullshit right now. Because I was cool until I saw that fucking comment about what we always doing. Why are you always doing this? Why are you always saying that? Fuck you. I say what I goddamn well please. If you don't like it, get the fuck out of here. And stay the fuck out of here. Gonna try to tone police us. Don't give a fuck if we yelling at the top of our lungs. Whether we're using expletives all over the place. Who cares? We can say whatever we want to say, however we want to say it. I'm pushing the boundaries on this tone police and shit. Don't tone police me. Don't tone police me. Again, I can't read all this shit, but I got what I want to say written in red. Because all this is basically saying is that women are subjected to dominance from men. And at first, the mythology was related to black men being potential rapists of white women. And then all of a sudden, in the 50s, the 40s, 50s, and the 60s, it became an issue of intra-racial rape. Now the black men weren't savages to white women, but they are savages to black women. Even though most of the cases of rape in this fucking country are from white men, some 62%, and they are the original fucking rapists. Along with their goddamn daughters, their mothers, and their fucking aunties and their sisters. Because they were sexually fucking molesting people on these goddamn plantations as well. But we can't have a conversation about this and be open and honest about it because it's offending people's fucking sensibilities and shit. If you got some fainting couch fucking feelings, get the fuck out of here. Gonna tell me what I can say, how I can say it, who I can target, who I can critique, but y'all can critique us till the fucking cows come home, huh? Motherfucker, bitch, please. Not on my watch. Anyway, Curry is basically pointing out, I'm going to start at the top of 4. Crenshaw has utilized this conceptualization of women from dominant feminism to explain black women's sex oppression within the black community. Emphasizing the sameness that black women have with other women is important to understand, or important in understanding how sexual oppression operates in intersectionality theory. Crenshaw explains that, and he's quoting from her, efforts to create sameness sensibility can sometimes be productive, especially in resistance to cultural and political histories that have foregrounded difference to justify or normalize dominance. Because black women are sometimes oppressed as women, there is a need to articulate what oppression as woman entails in relation to men and under the system of patriarchy. In mapping the margins, Crenshaw analyzes a specific example of sexual dominance concerning black women, which draws from the previous work done by white feminists concerning the role that domestic violence and rape play in maintaining the subordination of women within racial groups. Crenshaw begins her analysis stating that battering and rape, once seen as private matters and aberrational, errant sexual aggression, are now largely recognized as part of a broad-scale system of domination that affects women as a class. Now, the problem with this shit is that you got social scientific research that's been going on, not from fucking law professors, but sociologists who study rape and battering of fucking across the board and been doing so exclusively. And they have demonstrated, undoubtedly, that women are also engaged in this fucking practice of stalking, slicing, scratching, biting, all kind of crazy shit, shooting, destroying property, punching. But when they do it, it ain't no form of control, huh? All this shit is patriarchy theory. The shit is vacuous. There's no fucking scientific support for the shit. And this is why I have a problem with, man. Echoing McKinnon, woman is an essential category of being that explains a particular subjugation for Crenshaw. If you are a woman, you are automatically subjugated, essentially. Because you're dominated, essentially. She's a dominance feminist. By exploring where two subordinate classes of racial subjugation and gender subjugation intersect, Crenshaw posits that at that point you would find the black woman and the domination of women complicated by the particular subjugation of racial groups. And this is where I put the shit in red. Crenshaw's effort to bring attention to the interracial dynamics of rape in the black community relies on previous feminist theories. She claims that historically, the dominant conceptualization of rape as quintessentially black offender white victim has left black men subject to legal and extra-legal violence. So scholars were not able to understand occurrences of rape within the black community or theorize intraracial rape. The intersectional explanation that Crenshaw offers, however, relies on theories that make the subordination of women within the black community dependent on racist theories of black male savagery and criminality. And that's the issue with this shit. Crenshaw insists that generations of critics and activists have criticized dominant conceptualizations of rape as racist and sexist, and that these efforts have been important in revealing the way in which representations of rape both reflect and reproduce race and gender hierarchies in American society. And then it goes on, he says, however, the previous literature Crenshaw relies on to substantiate this argument depicts black males as brutish, sexual predators and deviants. Crenshaw claims that the use of rape to legitimize efforts to control and discipline the black community is well established in the historical literature on rape and race. But where is she getting the shit from? And Curry goes on to say, but this argument was far from well established and was extremely idiosyncratic in the 70s and 80s, since it was only beginning to be advanced by white feminist sociologists attempting to integrate the subculture of violence theory into their gender analysis. The only source Crenshaw gives to substantiate this well-established fact is Joyce Williams and Karen Holmes in a book called The Second Assault, which aimed to introduce a new theory of racial sexual stratification and to show that black men use rape for patriarchal oppression of black women. While this may now be popularly accepted feminist ideology, it was rooted, for the most part, in the subculture of violence theories about black men's compensatory masculinity. Meaning, you ain't really masculine, so you compensate for it by being a fucking sexist, rapist, abuser. You want to be like Whitey, so you go out raping people and shit. You make your girl be quiet, you just take the pussy or something. Come on, man. You got a race of men that are cape for women like a motherfucker. I don't see none of this shit happening. I see a whole bunch of fucking, yes, sir, yeah, well, not only will I do it for you, but yes, I do it for you. That's all I see in the black community. I see a whole bunch of Captain Savings. That's all I see. You say anything to the contrary, the first thing you're going to get called is some sort of sexist abuser. Now you are fucking mister. Now you're Mr. To get the results it desires, intersectionality not only must describe the sexual vulnerability of women and girls in the black community, but assume as fact that black men rape purely. And we're not saying that black men don't do fucked up shit. Like, it's a fact that there are some black men who are engaged in unsavory practices. At least we're here to admit that. It must be admitted because it's empirical evidence that demonstrates that the shit is happening. So we can't deny that it's happening. But we can't also deny that it's happening for women as well. And black women as well. To get the results it desires, intersectionality must not only describe the sexual vulnerability of women and girls in the black community, but assume as fact that black men rape purely for patriarchal power as white feminists before it theorized. In constructing sameness with white women as women, it consequently constructs sameness between black men and white men as men and patriarchs. That's where you get black men are the white people or black people. That's where the fuck it comes from right there. I'm not going into bell hooks or none of that. And this is the last little thing I'm going to read. And I'm going to start from the top of this paragraph, but I'm only going to read that far, to the red. To reformulate the deviant model of the black male rapist inherited from the work of subcultural violence theorists like Amir and Brown Miller, Curtis argued that black males' distortion of white patriarchy best explained their higher rates of rape perpetration. Throughout the 70s, feminists reconceptualized black men as intraracial rapists of black women rather than interracial rapists of white women. This idea of the black male as an intraracial rapist owes its origin to Menachem Amir's patterns of forcible rape, but became a cornerstone of American feminists, both black and white, through theory through the work of Lynn A. Curtis. Unlike earlier subcultural violence theories, which understood the black male rapist to be a product of socialization, where black subcultural values emphasizing aggression and violence were taught to young black men by their mothers and the sexual behaviors of black women, Curtis argued that the black male rapist was a unique trait of poor black male culture. Curtis asserted that black women had no role in the transmission of subcultural values of violence because poor black males, their masculinity alone, was the origin and cause of the disproportionate rates of homicide, rape, and sexual assault compared to other racial groups in the United States. Said differently, Curtis surmised that it was race, class, and gender, poor black masculinity, that created the most virulent form of rape culture in America. So at first it was black women teaching boys to be this way, but then it became an essential quality or category of being a poor black male that you're gonna be some sort of fucking rapist, a super predator. And the problem is that, as I said before, and I'll go back to it so you can see it for yourself. This is the article I read the last time I did a stream. And any four black men will do. And it's talking about sexual relationships between blacks and whites during slavery. And this is the most important part here. During the early years of Reconstruction, slavery was replaced by lethal violence to control the activities of freed blacks, including sexual agency. According to McLean, white Americans primarily in the South had the belief that black men had an incorrigible desire to rape white women. This led to whites referring to rape as the new Negro crime. The new Negro crime created the mythology that black men rape white women. The creation and perpetuation of this myth of new Negro crime stems from Klansmen who use women as markers in symbolic power plays between men. Since slavery, white men use sex with black women as a way to humiliate black men by demonstrating their lack of social power and ability to protect their women. Klansmen, conscious of their tradition of using women as a tool for power, soon realized that black men could also do this. Their fear of a subordinate using this technique to gain power helped create the idea of the black rapist. Yes, projection. Yes, yes, yes. Projection. So it starts off that black men want to rape white women. Then all of a sudden it shifts and changes and white women start theorizing and keeping the idea of the black rapist alive by means of using subcultural violence theory, which I'm not going to go through in this fucking article right now. I'm almost at the end of this damn show. I'm not going to continue to go on any further for real. But the point is, all of a sudden they flipping the script and then turning from interracial rape to now it's intraracial rape. But the whole idea still maintains that black men are rapists. And they want to rape because they want to be patriarchs and shit. They want to control and dominate women. And all of us are this way. We're all this way. This keeps alive the same shit that these goddamn hillbilly ass Billy Bob motherfuckers created in the goddamn South with hoods over their heads. Now you got black women everywhere talking this bullshit. And they don't even know the source of this shit, but they know it's fucking true. Now you got them idolizing these pale-faced motherfuckers, the same ones that rape both black men and women, boys and girls on the plantation. Now they calling them zaddy and shit. Dying to go fuck with them. Oh, they so sexy to me. They make my clit get warm. Are you serious people, man? You niggas are out of your mind, man. Male or female, niggas have lost it. We got too many fucking dancing daffies and shit. Too many. Too many dancing daffies that don't have information at their fingertips. And I say, yeah, why did I entitle this shit? When black women wield the white patriarchal sphere. Why do I even say it? When black women become the tip of the white patriarchal sphere, you do so when you propagate this fuckery and this bullshit that ain't predicated upon nothing but goddamn racist social scientific fucking research. That ain't even research. Ain't based on no empirical data, no fucking nothing. Look, RC says they say they get orgasms watching white men kill us. And that's real talk. That's sickness. Got black people fucked up. And when black women become the tip of the white patriarchal sphere, that shit is fucking a violation of black politics, especially black male politics. And don't tell me I'm supposed to fucking not be mad about this. I'm supposed to be cool. Oh, yeah, go sister girl. You tell them. You get us in our places. You lie about us. You tell us what we are, girl. Look, I know my tone can be intimidating. This is what Felicia says. Dr. Gigi, I understand your argument, but your tone can be intimidating. I'm just saying, but I see what you're saying too. Look, I'm cool and calm and collected for the most part. Yeah, I talk a lot of shit, but I'm talking shit to a specific audience for a specific purpose and a specific reason. I'm not here to have cupcake conversations with kittens and shit and to have ice cream pops and fucking goddamn sprinkles on top of it. I'm here because this is a gross violation of fucking the rights of black men. It's a stereotype, a scapegoating, and a caricaturization of who we are as persons and our real and our lived experiences. And we should be upset about it. We should be livid about it. And we don't need people coming in here telling us we need to say it softer. Oh, well, if you just said it this way, then more people would get it. And, look, nobody in the pulpit has a problem with the preacher yelling. Nobody has a problem when the rapper saying, I got Gucci, I got Polo at the same damn time. Or hooping and hollering on an R&B song. But as soon as we say something about politics, we want you to be a little more reserved. We don't want you to hurt us, our feelings. This ain't nothing to sit back and be like, that woman just called me a savage. We should be upset about this shit. We should be pissed off about this. This has real life consequences for black men. It creates more prison time, creates more bad stereotypes that enable us to be treated even worse than we're being treated at the present moment. We're already at the bottom of every index of well-being. This, all it does is add fuel to the fire. And it's an apology for me, for the carceral state to ramp up its surveillance and its incarceration of black men predicated upon cap. That's what it is to me. And the main ones that eschew the practice of tone policing are feminists. Isn't how odd is that? All I gotta do is look up an article on tone policing, and you'll see how many fucking feminist articles come up telling them don't check our tone. Don't check our tone. Don't tell us what we can say and how we can say it. No, we won't calm down. Tone policing is just another way to protect privilege. Calm down so we can discuss this like adults. Transmisogyny and violence, content warning. What is tone policing and why it's wrong? Feminists in India. Tone policing is when someone tries to diminish the validity and importance of a statement by attacking the tone in which it is said and presented instead of the message itself. Feminist. What is tone policing? Feminism 101. At the heart of oppression is emotion. Experiencing, acknowledging, and understanding the brutal and perpetual injustice of this world is at best not pleasant, and at worst self-destructive. The uncontrollable anger, the consuming hopelessness, the gnawing self-doubt, the clenching frustration. These are all raw, expected reactions to experiencing and learning about injustices happening internally and externally to people. Tone policing is an act of silencing a person's ideas and thoughts on the basis of their emotional tone. The tone argument, geek feminism. The tone argument is an argument used in discussions, sometimes by concerned trolls and sometimes as a derailment tactic, where it is suggested that feminists would be more successful if they only express themselves in a more pleasant tone. Tone policing is a form of casual sexism. So that what's good for the goose is good for the fucking gander as far as I'm concerned. You can tell us, tone it down. We tell you to tone it down. We ain't even telling you to tone it down. Say what you gotta say. I'm attacking what you're saying. I'm making a point. But everybody else can use this whole, you can't tone police me shit. But as soon as a black man speaks, motherfuckers want to start tone policing every goddamn where. They calling the fucking police of Tony. They calling the CIA of tone policing. The FBI tone policing. Everybody got a fucking tone to check. It's like they fucking musicians or something. Oh, that's not the right tone. Oh, that doesn't go with this chord. Oh, that doesn't go in this scale. Everybody got a tone policing argument when it comes to black men saying shit. In other words, shut the fuck up and be quiet. Don't be mad. Don't be upset because you ain't got shit to be mad or upset about. I got this. I got this. I got this. And I'm doing it so you ain't got to. I'm yelling so you ain't got to yell. Because this is a cathartic experience. I'm doing it so you ain't got to do it and put your fucking job in jeopardy. And put your career and your professional life in jeopardy. This our church. This our pulpit. I got one more thing to show. And I've already read this before as well, but I'm going to read it again anyway. See, a lot of these white ladies, let me just read the shit. This article is written by a woman named Ann Dummett. I've read it before. The racism, she basically says, and sexism is a false analogy. It's a false equivalency. The two are not the same, but motherfuckers like to lump them together like Kimberly Crenshaw, intersect them, and act like they're the fucking same. They're not. They're in no way the same. They're not the same. And this is what she says. I'm not going to read all of it, but what only is highlighted. While the women's liberation movement itself, of course, insists on the worldwide importance of its own struggle, those who are committed to working against racism must surely be fearful of the debilitating effects of the comparison on their own strength. In the U.S., the great civil rights movement of the early 60s, followed by the Black Power movement, Black nationalism, and a tremendous eruption of change in public debate and public attitudes on race preceded, came before, was prior to the new style of women's liberation and provided a vocabulary and style that could be copied. Everything they doing is they borrowing from our fucking playbook. Go get a late pass. And she's a British woman, so she's talking about conditions in Britain. But the arguments, the basic structure of it, And the soundness of it, to me, can apply to what's going on here in the good old US. In Britain, there has been no equivalent of the American transformation of the race picture during the 60s. There has been far less publicity, too, for racial discrimination and its effects. An imitation here, and now of the American women's movement, appears in quite a different context from its original. And women's liberation gets much more press coverage here than racial issues. Anti-racist demands will often be seen here, therefore, against the background of women's demands instead of the other way around. And where women's demands seem trivial or misdirected, it will be all too easy for anti-racist demands of a superficially similar kind to be dismissed as trivial too. For example, the anti-racist protest against the presentation of black people in children's books as savage, cannibals, or primitive idiots is a difficult enough protest to get taken seriously in Britain by educators and publishers. It will not be helped by the good offices of soi-disant allies in the women's movement who want to get rid of pictures of mothers ironing and little girls playing with dolls. And see, here's the problem. You still got the image of the black savage on fucking 10. It's still pumped up to the highest level you can put it in on your fucking audio volume. But everywhere you see, it's gender swapping everywhere. You look at movies, the TV shows, everywhere you fucking look, it's women who are doing the shit men did. And black men are still being portrayed as fucking savages. If the two protests are taken to be of the same character and importance, we shall have all the longer to wait for improvement in any direction. Indeed, I fear we shall get pictures of father ironing and little girls playing with trains long before we shall get much accurate and rational representation of African, Asian, and Caribbean peoples in children's books. Hallelujah. Racism, arguably the most important political phenomenon of the 20th century, is a denial, in theory and practice, of the equal humanity, equal capacities, and equal rights of men, women, and children, categorized by physical appearance or by national descent. Sexism, sexists would say, is exactly, or anti-sexists would say, is exactly analogous. The denial of these same kinds of equality on the grounds of physical difference. But this apparent similarity breaks down as soon as we begin to examine the results of racism and sexism. Millions of people in this century have been killed because of their race. Millions. Jews systematically exterminated by gassing. American blacks lynched, shot, beaten to death, burnt. Many more have been enslaved, in practice if not always in name, because of their race. Slavs by the Nazis worked in death, in forced labor. Africans in South Africa serving prison sentences for breaches of the past laws, which are explicitly racial, and working the land unpaid and unfree. Many more again have been reduced to utter poverty, degradation, and powerlessness because of their race. Many denied the right to be with their own wives or husbands or children because of their race. The victims of South African and Rhodesian land and labor laws. The victims of Britain's immigration laws. It is impossible to understand racism, to evaluate its workings realistically, to assess the true nature and importance of any of its manifestations, even apparently minor ones, unless we look at it against this hideous backcloth of cruelty and death. Racism denies the right of certain people to be alive. It does not always deny them life itself, since it is often a matter of economic or political policy to keep them alive. Tokens. But ultimately it regards the lives of certain human beings racially categorized as disposable. It may be expedient to give a few of them good jobs in certain circumstances as a tactical maneuver, But in other circumstances, it may be expedient to deport them, evict them, leave them to starve. Always in the background is the shadow of death. The doctrine of women's inferiority to men has no results comparable with these. It's true that in many countries, women have fewer rights under the law than men. Concern for their difficulties was not the guide to shaping anti-sexist doctrine and policies. Their distress has been absorbed into the concerns of the women's movement at a later stage than the comparatively far less serious difficulties of the well-to-do wives in the West who resent looking after babies, washing their husbands' shirts, and being regarded as dumbass bimbos. Anti-sexist magazines in this country devote more space to discussing abortion, lesbianism, and sexual self-stimulation than to injustice or to international political issues. And the fact is that sexism is not, in the same sense as racism, an international political issue. It does not swing foreign policy decisions, guide investment, or affect the course of wars, nor has it caused mass exterminations. We have not seen millions of women being put to death because they are fucking women. We have not seen millions of women being put to death because they were women. We already know when it came to slavery, 2/3 of the slaves were males and boys. Boys and men. 2/3. Slavery is a male game, primarily. Racism is a male game, primarily, because the most lethal effects are directed towards the outgroup male populations, because they pose the real threat of resistance. But to even say this nowadays, to even talk about it, to discuss it, is an act of misogyny. And why are you always talking about the women's? Why are you always making them feel bad? Well, you should feel bad if you spewing a whole bunch of fucking anti-black misandrous bullshit and mumbo jumbo in order to advance yourself, in order to get a fucking large mansion or some other fucking shit so you can get your motherfucking pussy hole lit by some white bitch somewhere. You ought to be a fucking shame for throwing your son and your daddy and your uncles and your brothers under the bus. You ought to be a fucking shame for dancing like fucking Daffy Duck all over the goddamn place. You ought to feel ashamed. You ought to feel ashamed. You ought to feel a goddamn shame. Because you are the progenitors of the goddamn kids. You the ones that manufacture them in your goddamn wombs. And you taint your own fruit when you attack your own goddamn fruit. You're fucking with your own tree, you big fat dummy. And don't tone police me. Please, don't fucking tone police me. Don't fucking tone police me. Oh, we understand what you're saying, but why are you so angry when you're saying it? Because this shit is helping to contribute towards our fucking early demise and fucking creating death for us and incarceration and the destruction of our fucking upward mobility. That's the fuck why. Oh, I don't like your tone. I don't like how you're saying it. Say how I fucking damn well please. This is the Green Gorilla channel where black men can express themselves freely. Straight up, no motherfucking chasers. As I said before earlier, man, they already, before this motherfucker even came on, I was already under review. Oh, this broadcast here is under review. We don't know if like advertisers can put this out. Now they can put all kind of TV shows with women beating the shit out of men, slapping them, punching them, all kind of stupid ass shit. That's all advertisable. That's all monetizable and shit. Oh, that's cool for our brands. Soon as you say something, soon as you put up something, soon as you talk about something that's grounded in empirical fucking reality, then all of a sudden it's a goddamn issue and a fucking problem. I'm tired of the bullshit. I'm tired of the fucking rigmarole. I'm sick and tired of being sick and tired of this bullshit. Don't tone police me. Don't fence me in. Don't tell me what I can say and how I can say it. Thank you, BGS Hipmore. Appreciate that donation. Thank you, Mr. Heat. Appreciate the donation. This is some serious shit here, man. Some serious shit here, man. It's our reputation. The truth about who we are and what we undergo and what we endure as human beings in this country. And then you got black women like Kimberly Crenshaw throwing salt in the wounds. And you got a whole bunch of acolytes and followers tap dancing right behind her ass. Saying the same shit. And these people ain't reading the literature on none of this. They don't give a fuck about it. They just sing in on the chorus. Join in on the chorus. Start saying what everybody else around them saying so they can have a sense of self-righteousness or some bullshit. They do everything to silence us and keep us in the back burner. They don't want to talk. They want us to talk about this. This is hate speech or some shit. We getting murdered and killed out here. Everybody want us to fucking be quiet. Speak with a softer tone. Why they get caught? We get carted off in fucking body bags and shit. Motherfuckers get to buy mansions and shit off our deaths. Will you tell a lie about us in order to advance yourself and to have special protections for yourself? That's that daffy shit. Fuck the fruit of your own womb. Fuck the fruit of your own goddamn womb. Yep. Thank you, bro. Teddy Roddy. Yep. Thank you for the donation. I'm just tired, man. You can talk about us like we anything or say anything about us. That shit is a painful experience already we will be dealing with, but then to have black women throw salt on the shit related to what white women talking about, and then they equivocate racism and sexism, like they're so fucking terrible, the fucking experiences that they undergo. They cashing in. All they did was moved us out of the way. Anything to advance themselves. And to see black women join into that shit and to dovetail that and then fucking offer us up as sacrificial lambs like we Jesus Christ or some shit. Take this, drink of this, my blood. Eat of this, my flesh. Shout out to David Price. Appreciate that, bro. And shout out to Patricia Colley, man. Appreciate that. Appreciate that. And never once did I say black men have not done shit that's fucked up out here. I never said that. See, I'm willing to take accountability for the shit that I do or that men do. I'm willing to do that. But are you willing to do the same shit? That's the problem, and that's where the disconnect comes in. Because you motherfuckers is doing a whole bunch of sidestepping and fucking tap dancing, trying to avoid fucking accountability and responsibility for the shit you doing, just like we out here doing. Then you got so many goddamn Cape Crusaders stuck up so much brainwashing and enculturation, they can't separate the wheat from the chaff and reality from fucking fairy tales and romantic novels and shit. Then you got black men out here like Floyd Evans on Good Times.
Damn.
Shit. All that hating, hurting, boy. I'm telling you, that's a painful experience, man, to have your own mothers and shit, your sisters and your aunties and your cousins and your fucking goddamn daughters coming out pointing the finger at you, offering us up like we fucking Satan during the goddamn Spanish Inquisition. So that's all I wanted to say, man. When black women become the tip of the white patriarchal sphere and put us into a bigger jam than we already in, instead of doing black research, really trying to figure out what the fuck is going on in the black community, what is the source of the pathology, instead of this quixotic, fake-ass, microwave, Betty Crocker, Martha Stewart-ass, fake-ass politics coming up with these goddamn white-ass bitches. They say a mind is a terrible thing to waste. A lot of y'all's minds is fucked up, man. Thank you, Mrs. KP Bailey, for all those people to say that we hate women. We got women here who understand what the fuck we saying. It ain't lost in the sauce like a goddamn tip off a chicken wing that got left in the motherfucking bowl. Damn. It's frustrating, man, to continue to bump into this shit over and over again. Thank you, Mark Holt. It's frustrating. I've been doing this work, man, for quite a bit of time. And overwhelmingly, there's so much resistance to the exposition, it doesn't matter how I say it. If I say it this way, if I say it softly, it don't fucking matter how I say it. It shouldn't matter how I say it anyway. This is not about hating black men or black women. This is about fucking truth. The origin of the thoughts that we have coursing through our cerebellums and shit. The hemispheres of our brain, the habits we've developed, the impressions we got of each other, and to have them articulated by black women who should fucking know better is the biggest problem in the goddamn world. It's a problem. And they done had a pass for too long. And we see the fucking filthiness, the dirtiness of it all in the full expression of black women from the fucking movement that's supposed to be in the embodiment of intersectional feminism. Them motherfuckers done cast out. If that's the fucking place where this is going, you already know it's fucked up. It's been some bullshit from the beginning. Now we just know how much and big a bullshit it was. Again, these messages have no bearing on any of the scholars I discussed or talked about. It's my thoughts. It's my expression. And I ain't got no hatred. I got 2 fucking daughters. And I want them to be the best they can fucking be. I ain't trying to hold them back. Oh, I want you to fix a nigga a plate. You to make sure you learn how to fix that nigga a good plate. It ain't about that shit, man. It's about the truth. Thank you, Ray Knowles. Thank you, Ray Knowles. Appreciate that. Right now, I'm fucking one of my daughters damn near talking that feminist shit. I'm like, get the fuck out of here with that. I ain't trying to hear that. Your ass ain't even 30 years old yet. You telling me about some shit you don't know nothing about, norms and values and ideals. You need to get on my level before you start coming to me with that political shit. You don't even know what the fuck politics come from. This shit got daughters against their own daddies and shit. I'm not here for that, man. I'm gonna speak the truth to whoever. But anyway, man, it's time for me to buzz out. I got another little engagement that I got to get into. But it was a pleasure for me to be here. I am not going anywhere. I'm going to hold the line. I will not be tone police. I will not be tone police. All you're going to do is make me get even more fucking exuberant and rambunctious. Besides, if it's good for the goose, it's good for the gander, ain't it? Thank you, Rashid. Appreciate that, brother. Anyway, man, I'm signing off. All I'm saying is, man, all the hating hurts. It's causing black men to have depression and die early deaths. And besides, if you look at the empirical data, it demonstrates that we're subjected to the same kind of savagery that you say that you are. Only we don't have narratives based upon fucking clan mythology to utilize in order to advance ourselves politically. That's the only thing we don't have. We don't use mythological narratives in order to try to fucking create cultural imperialistic narratives and concepts to fucking hold y'all down. So peace out. Thank you, Waffle Weave. I'm out this bitch, man. I'll holler at y'all next time, man. Be good. And I'm yelling so you ain't got to. Peace.